I feel my art is just beginning to take on a whole new level of creativity and beauty par excellence. The future is ripe with dreams and visions not yet imagined. Christine, the daughter of Gordon, recalls Gordon's personal insight working with me. In the 1950s, at the beginning of Gordon's jewelry career, the fascination with designer gemstone began. At that time, not many gemstones were being produced with unusual one-of-a-kind shapes. Seeking to create something different and at the same time challenging his skills, Gordon began using Rococo cuts from Brazil, which piqued the interest of jewelry lovers. There was a small select audience for work in gem art in the 1980s and 90s, but because of his influences, a new generation of distinctive gem carvers was born. In the late winter of February 1998, at the Tuscan Gem Shows, Gordon introduced his designs to the worldwide gemstone community. Showing his pieces that blurred tradition boundaries, he offered something different, which to his point of view, you either liked it or you didn't. That difference is what attracted each other to each other's work and started the exploration of collaboration with one another. The challenge initially for Gordon with the famous Taurus ring was the signature hole in the center of the gem. Working in small series, Gordon began creating a new form of design, one to complement the beauty of the intricate and detailed gemstones. Many hours of sketching and experimentation began while they brainstormed, each giving the other their own perspective of not only design, but also material selections. The first set of designs were rings using round Taurus ring cuts with very clean lines and minimal diamond accents. He expanded his designs in the Taurus ring series to include pear shapes, trillions, and oblong elliptical cuts. As was Gordon's custom, he always waited for the gem to speak to him, and the design would involve making the work the focal point of the piece of jewelry. Through the years, Gordon would commission him to cut smaller Taurus rings to fit into larger Taurus rings, and another successful series was created. The appeal of the talents of these two became well known, with their work together highly anticipated, forming the beginning of a renaissance of gem and jewelry art. No two gems or jewelry designs were identical. It is said that lightning strikes only once, but in the case of these artists, the lightning continued in many forms for more than 15 years, in different forms of design and artistry, and a true meeting of the minds of the concept of beauty, talent, and courage to introduce to the world another art form. Today, an original collaborative piece is highly collectible and a highly sought treasure. Gordon's designs with the art are preserved by his family and continues to be an extremely popular combination of two extraordinary visionaries. The master of manufacturing, Manoj Goyal, jewelry manufacturer of Pink City, India. My personal insight into working with Manoj. Long before I knew who Manoj was, apparently he knew who I was. For years, I would go to the GIA campus and give a general talk about gem carving and show the gemology students my work. I found out much later Manoj was one of those in the sea of eyes looking at me from the audience. He later told me once we started to work together that he dreamt someday he would work with me when he heard me speak at GIA. It's always amazing how one's intention can create one's reality. He got what he wished for. It was not until around 2008, when my business was falling apart during the Great Recession, that I turned to my good friend and asked him if he knew of anyone who would be willing to hire me for my gem cutting expertise. I was looking to stay afloat during difficult times and knew my skill sets would be a real bonus for a company somewhere in the world. It was not until Brazil in 2010, when we were trying to decide how to create my special gem cuts, that Manoj's name came again to light. One of the critical issues of taking my work overseas and training cutters how to do very difficult techniques is that now I'm exposing them to new skills that could easily be taken and used for their own purpose. We have a term in the industry called bleed out. Years earlier, I had attempted to produce my work in a factory in China. I experienced a loss in that many of my stones were returned broken, and their manager left the factory and attempted to take my cut with him. One of the cores of why my relationship with Manoj has been such a huge success is that he fiercely guards my work, and we only have a very small select handful of trained cutters knowing the complete process. I love working with Manoj because his factory is state-of-the-art in gem cutting and jewelry manufacturing. Though Manoj does not produce his own designs, his core is being a top-notch subcontractor for large manufacturers worldwide. He knows that if there is bleed out, it hurts his core business as much as it hurts the designer he's working with. Though I'm good at creating unique one-of-a-kind cuts, Manoj's expertise is being able to take these unique cuts and reproduce them in quantity. This is no small feat. It's easy to produce one by hand, but to then turn around and cut hundreds, one needs to reverse engineer the process so each piece is collaborated and uniform in size and quality. Manoj is a master at this. I just love working with him in his factory. We have produced thousands now in the 5 years we have been working together. I go to Jaipur 3 to 4 times a year to work with him and develop my cuts and jewelry for manufacturing purposes. I stay with him in his home and have been adopted as a family member, as an uncle. This is the Indian way. I can look back to when I was in India 40 years earlier on my spiritual quest to now, knowing my time in India was a primer to my time now working in India alongside him and his staff. I know the culture well and am very comfortable being there and working in his factory. Another reason why I love working with his factory is that it is completely compliant in labor laws and environmental impact. I feel that my product is trade-free and those producing them are making a fair and good wage. This has become extremely important in today's marketplace, that one's brand and products are completely compliant, because here in the West, consumers demand this and more. Manoj's personal insight working with me. As a student at GIA, I had a keen desire to focus my life in the world of gemstones. It's also where I first heard about him when he came for a mentoring session, lighting up our minds with his immense knowledge, creativity, and vision. His masterpiece, Bahia, was a constant physical reminder of the genius he is. To be able to speak to someone as accomplished was a dream. Our collaboration can be chronicled by Neil Gaiman's famous quote, "You can do anything, make anything, dream anything. If you can change the world will change." It gives me immense pleasure to be able to work with this consummate artist whom I've looked up to in my formative years. We've successfully been able to fuse in the idea of art and production science by combining his unmatched art practice and my company's deep knowledge of production, making art pieces accessible to the world. Very few artists have been able to transcend the boundaries of art and understand the value of reaching out to bigger audience by going commercial. He and I have been fortunate to have mastered this process. The teacher in him is very successfully able to break down his artistry into small and logical steps that our team dictated to his project capably interprets and transmutes into reality. He has a very precise cutting process of a single piece. He makes light dance on gemstones and combines colors of 2 or more gemstones like no other artist does. He's fluid, dynamic art transforms natural hard gem materials into moving, melting, or flying images of color and light. Each carving is one of a kind, recognized the world over as a distinctive brand. Call this production science or making accessible art. This took a good 2 years and countless trips to arrive to the level where we have successfully touched lives. Since he had an Indian experience early on in his life, he connects socially and spiritually very well to the people here. With this, another great advantage, he has leveraged a very successful East and West collaboration. We've sold over 60,000 pieces under this collaboration already, and coming to India, we now have a platform and take our creativity to the next level, making this beautiful art accessible to the world. It is what drives us, and that is just what we both thrive on. I continue to develop unique and exciting co-creative works with others in the industry. I feel my art is just beginning to take on a whole new level of creativity and beauty par excellence. The future is ripe with dreams and visions not yet imagined. Wow. Just excellent. That's all I can say.